Hey friends, how's it going? Glenn and Ben here from Good Movie Monday. Thanks for clicking play. We're doing a series of videos in the lead up to Monster Fest, and we are chatting with some creatives behind the films on the official Monster Fest lineup. Best thing about this series of videos is I get to sit back and let Ben do most of the heavy lifting. Ben, whose brain are we picking today?
Hey Glenn, today we're talking to Pierce Berolzheimer. I apologize if I got that wrong. Did I do okay?
Oh, nailed it. That's great.
Excellent. The director of Crabs. Welcome to the show, Pierce.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's great to be here.
Now, I love Crabs. Crabs is actually one of my favorite films playing at the festival this year.
Wow, that's high praise because the other movies are looking really good too.
There are some good ones playing, but Crabs is like a unique kind of teen sex comedy meets bio horror kind of meets Power Rangers kind of movie, which I've never seen before, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. How did the whole thing come together? Where did the idea come from?
Yeah, so I growing up, I would see horseshoe crabs. Like my family would go down to Georgia for vacation, and on the beach, there's horseshoe crabs all over the place. And I always thought like, oh, I want to be a filmmaker, and I see these horseshoe crabs. I'm like, someone eventually is going to make a movie about killer horseshoe crabs because they look terrifying. And then as I got older, no one had made the movie, and then still no one made it. And so when I got to the place where I was like ready to make my first movie, I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's the movie I'm going to make then.
So you're telling me that those crabs are real?
Oh yeah, we actually used real. They molt, so they actually do molt too. They're more like spiders. So they actually crawl out of their skin when their skin gets too small for the inside of their body. And that's how they get bigger, is they just molt. And so we found a bunch of the molts down in Georgia and used those as the sculpt for like all the puppets in the movie. I mean, we added like ridges on their back and some extra spines and stuff like that, but they look pretty much like what we have in the movie.
That is the most terrifying thing I've ever heard. Like, we live in Australia, which is, has the most deadly animals per land mass of any country in the world.
Per centimeter.
Per centimeter. Like, everything will kill you here. And yet I've never seen anything like that. I thought it was completely like they had completely come out of your imagination. Like, I can't believe it.
Oh no, yeah.
Having said that,
harmless though. They are slow and they can't bite, and like you can pick them up and their pincers aren't even that sharp. Like they are. There's some really cool stuff about horseshoe crabs. Like their blood is used in almost all medication because apparently there's no hemoglobin in it, so it like tests for impurities in medication. So all Tylenol and Advil and vaccines and stuff is tested with horseshoe crab blood. Anyway, they're really cool.
Well, Ben was really disappointed though when he read the title of your film, because that was going to be the title of his biopic.
Yeah. Different kind of crabs, Glenn.
I mean, there's some scary crabs.
That's it. Yeah. Well, that's the write up that we used for Monster Fest. We did make that joke.
That was good. I like that. Yeah, that was good.
Every promiscuous teen's worst nightmare.
You would have known coming up with this movie that was going to happen.
Oh yeah. That was the hope. I mean, the original title was Night of the Limulus, and I kept on showing people the script, and they're like, "Limula, what? Like, what is that?" And so in the end, we're like, "Okay, fuck it, we'll call it Crabs." But it's funny because there's actually no crabs in the movie. We reference that, but they're not actually crabs. So there's no crabs in our Crabs movie, which again tickles me. I think that's hilarious. So
now, one of the things I did want to talk just briefly about the casting.
Yeah,
I love Jessica Morris. I've loved her for ages
great.
since role models. But when she came onto the screen, I was like, come on, she's way too old to be playing a high school student. And then when it's revealed that she's the mum and teacher, and you're like, wait, come on, she's way too young to be a mum and a teacher. And quite honestly, she's way too hot to be anything but, like
she's great. She was wonderful to work with, and she was on board like immediately. She was the first. Actually, the way that we cast, I basically came up with a list, and then of like people I would want for the role. And then the casting director showed me who they got. And she was the only one that was in my mind before the casting agent even brought her in. And I was like, that's serendip. That's incredible. Like I wrote her name down, and then the casting director, without even knowing it, brought her in. And so we casted her right away. She was great.
Yeah, she's really good too. Like you get her to do some pretty gross stuff, which I do love. And there's a lot of there's a lot of kind of gross out humor, which I really appreciate. A lot of pee jokes and poo poo jokes, which it's right up my alley. So look, it is definitely a fantastic film, and I do urge everyone out there, if you don't already have a ticket, jump on the Monsterfest website and grab one now, because you will not be disappointed. Now,
they're selling fast too, which is awesome.
Yep, I think we've just released, because we've been under restrictions. There've been capacity restrictions. So sessions that had previously sold out or were very close to selling out, there have been more tickets released, because now we're at 100% capacity, which is fantastic for the festival, awesome, and fantastic for Crabs. So definitely, because I think it was almost sold out. Like we were about to kind of edit it on the website, but that has now changed, and so tickets are back and being available. So definitely grab it. Now, before you came on the show, we did ask you to pick out 5 films that were either helped inspire you to become a filmmaker, inspired this project, inspired Crabs, or that you just really loved. Yeah. So why don't we kick things off with your first one?
Sure. The first one is The Battery. Have you guys seen that?
Yes, that we played that at Monsterfest a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay, great. Awesome. Yeah. That to me is like the cleanest, purest form of just somebody going out and making what they want to make and saying, fuck the system, fuck anybody who tells me I can't afford it or can't do it. Like Jeremy Gardner to me is one of my idols. I mean, that guy, his writing, his acting, he's awesome. And The Battery. The reason I picked that movie was that I was producing this other movie, and the producer, another one of the producers, and I sat down and we watched that, and that was the moment where we're like, okay, we just got to go make this other movie we want to go make, and that led to Crabs getting made. So if I didn't connect with this guy Noah Lang over The Battery, it might have taken a lot longer to make Crabs.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a genius idea, because it's basically a zombie apocalypse movie told from the back of a station wagon.
Yeah,
like it is pure genius if you're making it like a low budget horror. And like I do have to say, like the thing that I really love about that guy is that he has possibly the most fantastic scruffy beard.
Yes, he does.
I've ever seen.
He totally does.
Yeah, I'm totally like, I can't grow. I look like a garden gnome. He looks like a hipster god. It's very upsetting.
He's got another movie called Tex Montana Will Survive that he put up on YouTube for free. Anybody can go watch it. Anyway, that movie's great too. He's the only actor in the whole movie, and it's like him filming himself. It's hilarious. I don't want to give too much away, but Tex Montana Will Survive. I'll plug that. It's great.
Add that to my list.
Have that. Check it out, because we did play his other one, which has it underwent a name change, so now I can't remember what it's called. Where he's like, it's all set in the one house, and there's After Midnight.
Yep.
But then I can't remember if that's the original title or the new title.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Something happened to it, but that was that we played that at Monsterfest as well, and I think that was actually one of Jarrett, who's one of the contributors to our show. It was his favorite film of the festival that year.
Oh, cool.
So that guy's. I mean, I do sometimes get him mixed up with the guy from Blue Ruin and Green Room, but he's like more like the nerd version.
Yeah.
And Thingo's more like the Paul Bunyan version, who chops down trees and kills zombies and fights fights creatures. Okay, number 2.
Number 2 is Eight-Legged Freaks.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
That's like one of my favorite movies of all time. And Crabs, if any movie that's ever influenced Crabs, it's Eight-Legged Freaks. And like we use the Eight-Legged Freaks soundtrack as both like the template for our composer to write all of our music. It was like, let's do that. Let's try to do as much of Eight-Legged Freaks as we can. And we shot this movie in 2015 and been tweaking the edit for years while the VFX work was getting done and while we were raising money for post-production. And the whole time, the Eight-Legged Freaks soundtrack was our soundtrack throughout the movie.
What a movie. You know what I loved about Eight-Legged Freaks? What struck me at the time when I saw it at the cinemas was how it's the first time I've seen a spider movie, like a giant spider movie, where the spiders actually look kind of real. Like they were sort of, in proportion.
Yeah, they didn't look like movie spiders.
Yeah, that's right. They didn't have like long, sticky, sort of spiky legs. They were actually like what we would call a huntsman spider here in Australia, which are terrifying things, but they are harmless.
Horrible.
But yeah, that's what they used in arachnophobia. But yeah, so the fact that it just looks so realistic as far as the scale of the spider goes, and
the way they move too, like with their crawling.
Yeah,
that's
what.
Yeah. That's well done.
Yeah, totally. And it
I love
like
that
stars Kari Wura and
David Arquette.
And David Arquette. Like you can't go wrong with David Arquette.
And Scarlett Johansson's in it too.
And that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. On her way. She was just on her way then.
She what?
She was just on her way to being Disney princess Scarlett Johansson.
She had already done Home Alone 3, thank you very much.
Yeah. Sorry.
Is she in Home Alone 3?
She's the daughter. Yeah.
Oh, wild.
Jeez.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was going to say Ghost World, but I guess that was Home Alone 3 trumps that. Jesus.
Home Alone 3 is really good. I actually like the third one.
I do too. Thank you very much.
I thought it was a really good movie. I just remember seeing it in theaters too. I thought it was great.
Did it get a theatrical release here? It must have.
Yeah, it did. Because it was a John Hughes film. He was trying to turn it into an anthology franchise as opposed to the same character.
Oh, yeah, right. So because I suppose by that stage, Colin McCulkin would have been 20.
See what he's doing? He's looking over the computer.
So
he's breaking the illusion.
Wall. Gonna look here. Ooh. I'm just not up to I can't. I'm not close enough to actually be able to fake it.
The illusion's been shattered. Thanks, Ben. And if you notice, my wall was behind you.
I was going to take credit for Hellraiser 3.
What are we up to?
Okay, well, number 3.
All right. Number 3 is Children of Men.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. That to me, like, horror aside, that movie, like the way I kind of think about it is like if filmmaking is an orchestra, right, and all the different pieces are like the cinematography is the strings and the set design is the drums and like that, and the director's the composer, like that is just like a perfectly executed where everybody's firing on all cylinders and it every beat hits perfectly. And like I know that like the thing that everyone brings up is the cinematography because it's incredible. But to me, the set design and like the world building in that movie is totally unparalleled. Like I have, there's not a lot of the times, like after I learn how movies are made, I watch a movie and I'm like, oh, I see how they did that. Or I can see how it's put together or constructed. And I can like take the sausage apart. That movie, I have a really hard time understanding how they accomplished what they accomplished, which is it's really incredible.
It's a movie that it's not in my top 10 list by any means, but every time I watch it, I think to myself, this should be in my top 10. Like it's a perfect movie.
I find the concept of it fascinating. That it is an end of the world movie where the end of the world is basically caused by infertility. Like it is like it's an amazingly simple and practical way to end the world that you just no one ever thinks is gonna could happen. Like it's not.
That's how we populate.
I guess the world ends with a fizzle rather than with a bang.
Yeah,
humanity.
That's like the beauty of it.
Yeah,
right. that and There Will Be Blood. I have it. Like I'm never sure which is my top, but
I'll take Children of Men.
All right, so we're at number 4.
Cool. Yeah, number 4. Let's do Ills. Have you guys seen that?
No,
I haven't caught it. I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
French movie. Them is the English title. It's it's sort of like The Battery in that they do a lot with a very little, but to me that's one of the scariest movies ever made. And part of that is because of how simple the premise is. I mean, the basic premise, not to give anything away, is there are characters in a house and somebody comes to the house and wants to do bad things. And you don't know what they want, why they want to do the things, who they are, until like the last 30 seconds of the film. And the last 30 seconds of the film, they give you who the bad guys were and what they wanted. And it just makes everything else that was terrifying 10x more terrifying, knowing the context of what was actually going on.
That sounds great.
It is fantastic.
Yeah,
and
right.
it's super low budget. And all it does is it like, without, I mean, it's like the premise of Jaws, like Jaws to me is almost perfect too. But as soon as they show that one shot when the shark comes up and Brody's in the foreground and the shark comes up, it loses a lot of the horror, because now you know what the shark actually looks like. And Ills is like that, but it never shows it. Not ever. Like even at the end of the movie, you don't really get to see it. It just tells you what it is. And so the whole time you're constructing the scariest possible outcome in your head. And that movie is like a masterclass in creeping you out without ever giving you information to creep you out. And so it's like primal horror. I mean, that movie is highly recommended.
Definitely got to check this out. Yeah, definitely got.
And it's only like 78 minutes. It's really short.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's ideal.
That's only double my attention span as a rule.
Yeah, it's
Like,
it's great.
so that's fantastic. All right, so definitely got to check that one out. Okay, so number 5, I think.
This is the last one.
Last one.
Cool. Yeah. Wow, that was quick. Yeah. Number 5 is Jurassic Park 3.
Yes, thank you very much.
The Apex Predator movie.
Yep. So Jurassic Park 3D I was like 13 when it came out. And I learned to read on like the Jurassic Park novel and the Jurassic Park comic books. And there's Jurassic Park references all throughout Crabs. We like make a Jurassic Park joke at the end of the movie. Like Jurassic Park is one of my favorite properties of all time. And so I was 13 when it came out. I was like super, super excited, watched all the trailers over and over and over and over again. And I knew that there was a premiere in New York. I was living in upstate New York, and down in the city, they were having the premiere. And I like was trying to figure out how to go and couldn't figure it out. And so anyway, I was going to school. I was in middle school. And then like second period, my mom comes into the school and is like, "Oh, you have a dentist appointment. We got to go to your dentist appointment." I'm like, "I don't have a dentist appointment. What are you talking about?" And she's like telling the people at the office, "Oh, you have a dentist appointment." And so she checks me out of the school and she gets in the car. She's like, "I got us tickets to the premiere of Jurassic Park 3. We're going out of the city now so we can watch it." Well, I got to go and meet William H. Macy. And it was like my first big deal, super excited about a movie, going and seeing it for the first time. And there was like this unbelievably cathartic sort of energy about the buildup and excitement about that movie specifically. And then same thing actually with Jurassic World. When that came out, I filed a raffle and got 2 tickets to the premiere. And so I got to take my mom then to go see the premiere of Jurassic World. So
I don't remember being so excited about a film than Jurassic Park 3 when that came out.
Yeah.
Like the publicity was perfect for it. Like it really got me going. And I mean, I do love the film. I'm like, one of these people that will defend it. I think it's a very good movie. It's, it fits in. I wish Spielberg had have made it, but all the same,
me too.
It still works. And I just think they went more practical than before.
Mm-hmm.
Is probably the downfall.
Yep.
Tilione, she's a bit of a downfall.
No, I love Tilione. Tilione was the reason I went to see it.
Fucking annoying as anything.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
And do you know much about like the script and the issue that they had? They had an entirely different script until like 3 weeks or 4 weeks before production. And then they just wrote the script based on all the props that they had already built.
Yeah, and
the movie.
And a lot of the scenes were like, "Oh, let's go through the old script and see what scene there is."
Yeah,
what we can. Yeah, right. I mean, I thought it was genius because I love the idea of the apex predator thing, that there was a bigger dinosaur than the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and that was the whole thing. And they kind of moved on from the raptor thing, which they had kind of brought back in.
Although it has a great raptor scene with the 3 of them getting Grant into corner.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it does kind of bring it back, but it's not. I don't think they're not the major dinosaur villain.
Oh yeah, they made up that Spinosaurus. Or
Yeah, they got the thingo in it. Yeah, which I love the idea of. I love that, it doesn't matter how big you are. There's always something bigger and badder out there, kind of thing. And I love that. And I love William H Macy.
Yeah.
And I love Tia Leone. Like, it had everything. Like, the only thing it was missing was a shirtless Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
And it had a big bird cage. That was
And it did.
That was cool too. I really liked that part.
Yeah.
Admittedly, like, that is one of the things that always bothered me about the other Jurassic Park movies. I'm like, where are those pterodactyls? Like, pterodactyls are awesome. Where are they?
That was supposed to be the birds flying at the end of the final scene in the first one.
Yeah.
But they changed it. But you'll never hear on any other podcast as much praise for Jurassic Park 3 as we've just dished out.
It's true.
I'm so
I actually
happy
don't know very many people that like that one, so I
you
figured
found us, mate. You found your tribe. Well, anyway, look, it's been grouse having you here. You probably don't even know the word grouse, do you? That's an Aussie word.
Grouse?
Fantastic.
I like it. I'm going to steal it. People won't know what the hell I'm talking about here, but
mate, Crabs is precisely the type of movie that that really gets me excited, and I can't wait to see it. And it is screening, as Ben said, at Monster Fest on Saturday, December the 4th at 7 p.m. I'm going to be there. Can't wait. Tickets are on sale now. People should head to the monsterfest.com.au website. And is it .com.au or .com?
.com.au.
And book their seats now. Thanks so much for sticking around and having a chat with us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
The film.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you guys for programming the film at Monster Fest. That's like an enormous honor. So I'm so glad you like it. And yeah, thank you for having me on. This has been great.